All right, so I'm here with my teacher, Miss Conley. I happen to be gifted a album by the teacher that's helping me do all this in the first place. So here she is. So yeah, let's just get straight to it. First question is, at what age did you start listening to the album Funhouse?
Well, actually, so I really liked Iggy Pop whenever I was in high school, but I didn't go back and listen to like the full album, the older stuff until I was older. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, interested. Like I've been a big fan of his music for a long time, but this particular album, like I kind of went back and did a deep dive. It's been maybe a couple of years ago on Iggy Pop, and sort of went back and listened to all of his albums, and this one ended up being my favorite.
Do you still to this day listen to the album?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, like some of those songs that are on that album, like I had known for a long time. Like there's 2 or 3 on there that are really famous.
Oh, okay.
So like I really loved those in high school, and my younger brother especially really loved Iggy Pop in high school. So yeah, so I associate that with him. Yeah, I mean so that's my connection with that album is
your brother.
My brother, yeah, like really loved Iggy Pop, and like he made music himself, and like the style of it was very similar to Iggy Pop's music.
So what's your personal favorite song from the album?
Well, I really love TVI.
Yeah.
Did you look up like what the background on that song or
I
anything?
haven't yet. I mean, not the background, but I mean, I listened to it.
Okay. I mean, like, it's not fully appropriate, so I'm not going to talk about exactly what the song means. But, like, it actually, the background on it was that it was, like, a code word to spot somebody that, like, you thought was attractive in a crowd,
gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So you could Google what TVI
That's
stands
funny
for.
because me and Tommy were, like, when we were doing the reaction video, we were trying to, like, elaborate what any of the words meant. But
yeah. Well, like, because he says, like, she's got a TVI on me.
Yeah, that makes sense now, yeah.
So it's like this girl is checking him out. And,
yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But that aside, like, I just think it's maybe the catchiest one on the album.
Yeah. And I don't think we've gone over it, but the Stooges are the ones that, created this album.
Yeah.
Do you listen to any other songs, besides the album? Like, any of their songs?
Well, so the Stooges was like the sort of the earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Iggy Pop being the front man for the Stooges, so they only had, I think maybe 3 or 4 albums under that name. But I really of course, he kept working he still tours now, and he's like in his 70s and can barely walk and still gets on stage. And, so let me think. He had an album that came out 4 years ago. That was really good.
Oh wait, 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
he's still recording. Wow. Yeah. So and that last one was kind of a surprise. Like people didn't know that it was going to come out, and I think had like low expectations because like sometimes when artists get older they can't
as good.
Right. But no, it was up
gotcha,
there.
Really.
Yeah.
The next question is, what introduced you to the Stooges? But it seems to me that it was your brother.
Yeah.
Or your brother.
Yeah. Either that or so I'm from Murray, and we have the local NPR station there, and there was this show called Beyond the Edge. Well, it's still on. Beyond the Edge is still on WKMS on Saturdays. And my friends and I in high school, it was like we had to listen to Beyond the Edge every single week when it we were ready there at the radio to turn it on so that we could hear that show. I know that makes me sound like I'm 1,000 years old, but we had to catch that radio program at the time it came on, and so we would all go over to one another's house and listen to Beyond the Edge. And anyway, so a lot of the music that I picked up that I liked came from that. And the host of that show, Tracy Ross, is a good friend of mine. I've known him since I was a kid, and,
that's cool.
And he's still hosting the show now. So that's actually probably where I first heard the Stooges from. But
okay.
Yeah.
So, is there any other artists that are similar to the Stooges that you enjoy listening to?
Well, I mean, the Stooges are massively influential.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the whole span of really punk music.
Yeah.
Comes out of what the Stooges were doing.
So
but David Bowie's my favorite ever,
mm-hmm.
and he and Iggy Pop collaborated together quite a bit, kind of in their heyday. Probably Iggy Pop's. I keep just talking about Iggy Pop instead of the Stooges, but probably his most famous album is The Idiot, and David Bowie produced the whole thing, and Like they make music together all the time. So if you like Iggy Pop, you like the Stooges, there are probably some David Bowie albums that you would like also.
Gotcha. Did this album or favorite song teach you anything by chance?
Oh.
After listening to one of them, I don't know if you. Actually, well, kind of, like with the whole,
Yeah.
the meaning of she got a TBI.
Sure.
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
So did the album teach me anything? Like I think more than anything, Funhouse as an album, like taught me, like it teaches me about like perseverance, because like the process of getting that album made was really rocky, and like because those guys were young when they made that music, and I mean they were doing like stuff that young people do, you know, and kind of getting into trouble, and I think too, like it really shows how like when you are chasing something creative, you kind of have to go with your gut and just see what happens.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't really, I think they had like 3 songs, and then they went in and they're like, no, we have to record a whole album. And so they're like, oh, okay, well, you're like, okay, hang on, let us go to lunch. And they like went to lunch, and they like wrote down some songs, and then they came back, and then they just made the rest of the album and kind of made it up off the top of their head, and it's, the whole thing is comprehensively amazing.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it turned out to be a hit.
Yeah, and then when they did the next album, like they kind of did the same thing. You know, like the producer was like, "Don't you think it's time to make another one?" And they're like, "Okay, give us a night." You know, so you know, I think when people think about creative stuff, they think that you have to like have it planned out ahead of time, and like true.
I think it's the opposite almost though, because if you, I mean, more you think about it, it's just, it turns from creative thinking to like critical thinking almost, you know?
Yeah, and well, you can really work a creative project to death, you know?
Yeah.
And I think really the spontaneous stuff a lot of the time ends up being the good stuff.
Yeah. All
I
right.
have to remind myself of that sometimes when I get stuck, like when I'm doing something creative, I have to just like kind of let it go and Iggy Pop it.
Last question.
There's one more. Okay.
Yeah. If you were to change anything to improve the song more to your liking, what would you modify?
The
Anything?
album?
Just
I would make it
just
longer.
anything.
That's like the only
Longer?
thing is with if maybe there would be, because the songs are really short too.
Yeah.
So maybe there would just be more of it.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
But you can't force.
That's funny.
You can't force creativity.
Yeah.
But yeah, more of it would be good.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Well, thanks for letting me interview you.
Yeah. Should we shake on it? Should we make it official? Good job.
Oh, the interview itself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you.